Engage. Let's call this video Engage. Engage in your goals. These Facebook memories will really get you sometimes. So 4 years ago today, I was driving my son up to the top of this ridge so he could cycle down, watching him and his athleticism, feeling a little bit envious that I had a knee injury that was so bad, like I could just barely bend my knee enough to drive him up there. I weighed 280 pounds. I was desperate to get out and live, like to live with him, to hike. And here today, 4 years later, I just hiked him up to the top of this ridge, and he's riding down another trail and I'm hiking down 4 years later. See you at home, Frederick.
Yep, see you at home.
So what did I do to get from there to here? And I talk a lot about the food, but I don't even know that the food is the most important thing. So I'm shining a light on what I think the key thing is in this video series called Engage. So a big reason I lost the 140 pounds is I was highly focused on my goal. My goal was to get out and hike with my sons. I was an avid forager. I've been able to get out and live the life that I've always wanted to live. And a key to maintenance as well is continuing to engage in your goal. This has actually come up in the group recently, and it made me realize that, like with COVID and being shut up in the house, that even though I lived only 15 minutes from the trailhead that brought me here today, I haven't been out and living like I need to live. And so today I have a project for you that I'm going to share just a few little sights from along the trail. But today I got out and I engaged in it. I lived in it. So gratefulness, that really needs to be my focus. I mean, thinking about 4 years ago, boy, I was fighting for it. I was doing the very best that I could. And you know what? That ended up being good enough. It was good enough because it brought me here. It brought me here. And so 4 years ago, all I could do was drive that kid up to the top of this road so that he could ride down. And I remember just like watching him. I mean, that like athleticism, and you're the mom, so you're not like maybe jealous in the way you might be of other people. You're proud. But I just remember that. I remember taking it in, and that is how I was living it then. And again, it was apparently enough. And I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of what I did, and I should have that same sort of focus every single day for the rest of my life. Something noteworthy of my adventures 4 years ago is that I always had a project. And so even though I just drove him to the trailheads or to where he was going to ride his bicycle, I would always have something maybe that I was going to pick. So maybe I was going to infuse some vinegar or some oil with something. And so I thought, as I engage with my goals again, still, as I cling to that and I don't lose it and don't take it for granted, I need projects. And so today, now it's the winter, and winter is not the best for foraging projects. Well, you know what though? There's always something. There is always something, even in the absolute dead of winter. And so today's project is a wintertime project. I have collected some cedar leaves to take home and make tea. It's a very simple thing you can do with any edible conifer. And so edible just means, guys, it's not going to kill you or, make you sick. You need to know that, so first, most conifers are actually edible, but please check with your local resources because, you're going to end up being that one person near the one tree that's not. Okay, now the other factor, when people think of edible, what they sometimes mean is like palatable or tasty. And so what you need to consider is if you even like it. And so in the case of cedar, it's a lot like drinking a cedar tree. Just drink the tree, okay, in the water. You may not like it. You may not like it at all. I even wonder, do I really like cedar tea? Or do I just like cedar? Do I just like the idea of it? I have no idea, and maybe it doesn't matter. I'm going to go home and make it and be happy. That's my plan. Rico and I gathered up a bunch of leaves and found some cedar pollen. Look at how crazy this stuff is. And loaded it up in the backpack to take home. The cedar tea project is really simple. So all I'm doing is taking some cedar leaves home. I will put them in water. I will heat up the water, bring it to a boil, probably just put the lid on that, like turn the heat off, put the lid on and let it sit overnight or, for an hour or so till it gets really strong. And then I typically make it really strong because then I dilute it to taste. I never measure. I never pay attention because I just want to have like a little casual experience, and I can always dilute it. And it's cedar leaves, right? So this is just what I do. I don't like overthink it or anything else, and I can almost never replicate what I'm doing, and that's fine. That's the process I like. Cedar is actually the only conifer we have on this particular trail, so it was an obvious choice for our tea. But then I started thinking about it, like, what about fir? So fir is the conifer that's typically the Christmas tree, and it can kind of be a fun tea to taste. And so I was asking Frederick, where could we find like 3 varieties of fir so that we could like have a taste test? Like, what's the difference between white fir, red fir, and Douglas fir? So I asked him where he thought we should go. This is what he said.
Yeah, so Ponderosa has 2 varieties of fir trees, white and red fir. But if you go further north, like north of Sequoia Kings Canyon, you start to see Douglas firs. And the coolest place I can think of in the Sierras north of Sequoia is Yosemite. So I think we should go over there.
Frederick acts like he has average knowledge on things like the fir trees and that sort of thing. So I love to ask him for stuff like this. He is always a great resource. And I love his idea of Yosemite. We've been talking about going on the Mist Trail. So that's it's a real thigh buster of a trail. I did it when I was about 28, when I was actually at like my trimmest at that, my previously lowest weight as an adult, which was about in the high 160s, and I was about 28 years old, and we got to the top of that, my husband and I did, and we found that we were probably, at least I was among like the fattest and the oldest up there. So at my portly 170 pounds and 28 years old, I was representing like the older set up there. So it'll be interesting to see what my experience is these days. I would so love to do that hike. So that is going to be one of our future projects, I hope. It's not too far from here, so we just need to make some time to do it. The trail today has been pretty easy. The lower part of it actually is covered in snow, and I wore the wrong shoes for that, so I'm wearing trail runner shoes rather than like a hiking boot, which I should have been wearing, but I got through it. It's okay. And let's see, the trail is only 1,000 feet in elevation, and I take a step back on that and say, wow, I'm on a trail that's only 1,000 feet in elevation. What? Well, you know what? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I struggled to get up like a 500-foot elevation climb. Really struggled. I did it, you guys. I did it. That was me doing it. But now, like here I am, like prancing around with this 1,000-foot hike. Yeah, it's crazy thinking about like a hike of 1,000 feet and a hike of 2,200 feet, which I did just a few weeks ago. It really is worthy of its own story, so probably I should tell it there. But that's the Frog Meadow hike in the snow, where I found myself limping in the dark, possibly lost, wondering if we'd be sleeping outside. One of those little moments. And I have to say, I stood on that trail and I cried. I'm going to admit it. I cried. Okay, kind of like I cried here. Because I realized how happy I was in that moment. Like I was out there. I was living it, okay? Even limping. You got to hear the story. See that wet shoe? Yeah, the foot went right in. It slid right on one of the slippery rocks. And a big reason is, look at the treads on these things. I do think I made a little bit of a footwear error with this particular hike. And the fact is, these trail runners, they're old. I have some other ones, but I'm not really liking them. So I wore these and I slid into the creek. But what amazes me about this is I didn't injure myself. And so, right, that's the big thing that you're concerned about at the higher weights, because you have a lot of weight going down on those joints and on the bones. And I'm amazed that when I fall, I just kind of fall and get up. And, okay, maybe I'm not like Superwoman or anything like that. I can break a bone. I need to be mindful. I'm always amazed in these little moments that I didn't actually injure myself. So I'm going home now with a very cold foot, and I need to do some shoe shopping. But other than that, it's been a great little hike. And so now it's time to head home. We'll see if Frederick beat us there. I'm sure he did. We'll put on some cedar tea and see how that is. Hey,
Hey.
hey, how did it go?
Oh, great.
Uh-huh. He's on Zoom. Can I
Yeah.
hear us? Can they hear me?
No, they can't.
Okay.
It's on mute. Hello, everyone. So we're back from our hike. We have cedar tea that we're each gonna try.
And Frederick's just going to take over the videos, apparently.
I like the flavor. It's just not very strong.
Honestly, I just put it on to steep a bit ago. I would normally let this steep overnight and then probably, then strain off the tea, heat it up a little bit. And if it's too strong, you can always dilute it. That's easy. You can sweeten it. I'm kind of liking this.
It's basically like a flavored water.
Yeah. Well, tea is a flavored water. It's just unexpected to have it the flavor of a tree.
Uh-huh. And it's mild flavored too.
Yeah. Honestly, this is reminding me of Parker Meadow right now. Do you think it's Parker Meadow in a cup?
No.
What's Parker Meadow in a cup, would you say?
A gooseberry jam.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good point. Remember that time we harvested gooseberries about 6 years ago and you were just singing like the soundtrack of Oklahoma up there in the forest?
Yeah, I have a vague recollection of that, yeah.
I just remember harvesting all the berries and just hearing him belt it out, like echoing through the forest. It was amazing.
It's like an echo chamber up there.
It is. You want to sing for us?
No.
He actually is a good vocalist.
Yeah, I am. Sometime when I'm inspired, maybe I'll sing in one of these videos.
Leave a comment if you think he should sing in the next video. You need to get ready. Bring your A game, bud. Bring that A game.
Gotta think of what song.
Yeah, well, there's the Oklahoma soundtrack.
There is.
Okay, well, this is it. This has been just fabulous. I was up engaging in my goal, Frederick engaging in his goals, him on his bike.
Riding down the mountain, rode all the way back home. I hiked my bike up to the top of the ridge and then rode it all the way down.
They know because they've already seen the footage of you pushing that bike up the trail. That was fabulous. We're all envious of your abilities. Just telling you. Okay, well, you guys, we'll see you again. Hopefully out on a trail, being awesome somehow.
Yep. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Good luck to you all.